Hey, GAP Math students, this is a video for percents, ratios, and proportions, objectives 27 through 31. So open your packets, and it would be, you gotta turn through a little bit and it'll be on this page, okay? The good thing about this section is mathematically there's really nothing new. We're still going to be solving proportions, just the type of proportions will be slightly different, but really by reading the problem, you're not going to do anything different. Again, the key to these problems is setting it up. The math to solve it is easy. You just cross, multiply, and divide. Okay, so we're going to go through. I think there's no like actual notes to take because we're doing the same thing we've done in the past to solve proportions. We're just going to do, I think, 10 or 11 example problems here. And just so you have things to look at, and then try some on your own to get ready for a test. Okay, so let's go through, and it doesn't really matter which objective they're from, 27 through 31 here, because the way you're going to solve it's going to be the same. I can explain it a little bit, but let's go through and you'll see what I mean here. So number one, researchers study the effects of various fertilizers on corn growth. One corn plant in the study grew 1.71 meters in 57 days. What is the unit rate of growth for that plant? So one thing, when they're asking for a unit rate, they want it in something per 1 unit. Okay, so it depends on what the units you're talking about here. And couple clues when reading the problem, 1.71 meters in 57 days. So you're looking for the rate of growth, meaning how many meters in 1 day. Now, multiple choice can help you out understand that a little better because if you look at the answers, it's telling you how they want it written. They want meters per day. So in our unknown, remember I kind of talk about unknown pair and known pair. Whoops, that's spelled wrong. Pretend that's right. So our unknown pair, they are looking for meters and days. And it says, what was the unit rate of growth for that plant? So they, because it's a unit rate, and this, again, if you're not understanding, if you look at the answers, it helps you. They're giving you some sort of meter per day, meaning per 1 day. When it's per day, it means per 1 day. Just like speed, miles per hour means how many miles per 1 hour. So we don't know how much it grew, okay, but we know we want it in 1 day, okay? Then we got to look at what's known, the known pair, and write these units that we have for the unknown pair, meters and days. So if we look at the information given to us, that is the information they gave it to us. That makes it a little bit easier. We just have to put it in the right spot. Meters on top. So 1.71 meters. And that took 57 days. Okay. So now to solve, let's just cross multiply and divide. So you take the diagonal with two numbers. You multiply those. And you divide by the other number, which is 57. So again, the multiplication is easy. Okay, 1 times 1.71 is 1.71. And then divide by the other number, which is 57. And you get 0.03. Okay, letter A. Now, some of you might be able to look at this and just kind of understand the process and just say, well, it's 1.71 meters in 57 days, so I would just divide that. If that makes sense to you, that's fine, but it's not always that simple. So I wanted to show you a way to use a proportion to solve that problem. Okay, So that's number one. Number two, at one junior high, the ratio of students who have PE class before lunch to the students who have PE class after lunch is 26 to 35. So 26 is before lunch, 35 is after lunch. Remember how they present ratios? It says before lunch to after lunch. It says if 156 students have PE class before lunch, how many students have PE class after lunch? So we read the problem, and what we need to know first is what are they asking for in the unknown pair? Okay, they gave us students who have PE before lunch, and they're wondering when they give us that, how many students have class after lunch. Okay, and so in that unknown pair, the 156 is the ones that have it before, so that goes on top. The after is what we don't know. Okay, now we look at our known pair and see if that's what they give us, the before and the after, and if not, then we should be able to figure it out. And what we already read, that is what they gave us. They gave us the 26 is before, the 35 is after. So this one is going to be, a step less than some of the ones we've done in other sections, because we don't have any adding or subtracting to do to get these two items. So now let's just cross multiply and divide. So take the diagonal with two numbers. So we're going to have 156 times 35, all divided by 26. So we get 5,460 divided by 26. And we get 210. Now remember, you can kind of look at this and see if it makes sense. Here there was less people before, more people after. So then our final answer, 156 before, 210 after. So yes, there was less before and then after. So that kind of makes sense. Okay. All right, let's go to number 3. For a science experiment, Val needs a saltwater solution that is 27.2 grams of salt for every liter of water. So again, what that means is 27.2 grams for every liter of water means every 1 liter of water. If Val uses 53.1 grams of salt, how much water will need for the solution? So again, for the unknown, the question, they're giving us 53.1 grams of salt, and they want to know when we have that, how much water will she need in the solution? So those are the two things we need. Now in that question, they're giving us the grams of salt, so that goes on top. We don't know the amount of water. Okay. So now let's look in our given pair, our known pair, and see if that's the two things we have. 27.2 is grams of salt, just like 53.1 is grams of salt, so that can go there. And that, when there's 27.2 grams of salt, there is 1 liter of water. So that goes there. Okay, so it's using a unit rate. So now what we do, again, cross multiply and divide. Take the diagonal with two numbers. And again, that's going to be easy multiplication because it's 53.1 times 1, and then divided by the other number, which is 27.2. So this is 53.1 divided by 27.2. And when we do that, we're going to get 1.9 9, 5, 2, 2, and it goes on and on. Okay, so closest one here is 1.952. That's our answer. Okay. All right, so we're getting there. About a third of the way done. Number 4, an airline is gathering data to determine the proportion of passengers on its flights are male. The information will affect airlines' advertising. On one flight, 23/44 of the passengers are male. So what that means is, first of all, before we go on, is that means 23 out of 44 people are male. So what this means is it's 23 male out of 44 total. Okay, so that's important to know. It's not 23 male, 44 female. It's 23/44 of the passengers. Okay, so that means there's 44 total passengers, 23 male. Then the question, what is the total number of passengers on the plane if 92 passengers are male? Okay, so the two things they're talking about in the question is they want to know the total when there's 92 males. So the unknown, I'm going to put males on top just because in that other fraction it is, but I can show you something where it doesn't matter in a bit. Okay, so in the question, they tell us the number of males, so 92 goes on top. The total is what we don't know, but that's what we're looking for. Okay. Now we look at what they gave us and see either is this exactly what they give us or do we have to figure it out? Well, it's exactly what they gave us. I just talked about that. So 23 would be on top, 44 on the bottom. Okay. Now, if we would have done, I'll just show you over here, because when you read this question, you read what is the total, and then if there's 92 male. So if you happen to set it up like this, you would still get the same answer as what we're going to get in a second. We just know that we don't know the total in the question when there's 92 passengers. And now we just have to make sure we flip this because now I put males on the bottom and we were putting total on the top. Okay, so either one of these, when you set it up, if you cross multiply and divide, take the diagonal with two numbers, it's going to be 92 times 44. It just looks a little different. That's the same thing. So we'll take 92 times 44, all divided by 23. So when you multiply that, you get 4,048 divided by that 23. And you get 176. Okay. So far, they've been pretty straightforward as far as the setup. Okay. We're going to look at some where it's going to be a little different soon, but let's take a look at number 5 first. Okay. It says, after milking several cows by hand, a farm worker had collected 73 liters of milk. It took the worker 73 minutes. Actually, you know what? I'm going to leave this one out. I'm going to let you do this one on your own. We'll do another problem like it. Okay. So I'm going to leave that one. So that's one less problem we're going to have to do. So I'm going to let you do that one. So turn the page here. So we're looking at number 6. All right. So it says the ratio of fruit juice to sparkling water in a fruit punch recipe is 22 to 13. So let's just look at what we got there. Ratio of fruit juice to sparkling water. Okay, and those together make what we call the fruit punch. Okay, so now let's look at the question. It says a bowl of punch is made by using 52 ounces of sparkling water. How much punch is made? So in the question, they're asking how much punch is made if we use 52 ounces of sparkling water. So we are using sparkling water So this is our unknown. Sparkling water, and we want to know if we have that much sparkling water, how much punch is made. So I'll just use P. I won't use FP. We won't confuse it with the F. So in our unknown, it's 52 ounces of sparkling water. And we don't know how much punch that makes. Now here's where we have to be careful. It's tempting just to go 22 and 13 or 13 and 22 and use these two. But we have to look at this. Sparkling water over punch. Now we could have went punch over sparkling water, just have to match up the right numbers, however you set it up. But we only know one of these, or only given one of these right now. The sparkling water here is 13. Okay. So now if we need to find how much punch is given to us. Well, if there's 22 fruit juice and 13 sparkling water, well, the way that you find the punch is you take the fruit juice plus the sparkling water. That equals your punch. So in our known pair, we have 22 and we have 13 sparkling water. We add them together and we're going to get 35. So in our known pair, 35 is the number of punch. Okay, so that's the little extra in this problem that we didn't do on the first page. So now we do cross multiply and divide. So we get 52 times 35 divided by the other number. So we get 1,820 divided by 13. That's 140. Again, remember on any of this stuff, I should have said it already, but if I go too fast and stuff, hit pause, copy things down, then listen. Okay? All right. Number 7. A 12-ounce can of store brand tomato paste costs $1.56 at the supermarket. The unit price of the sauce is listed on the shelf below the cans. To the nearest tenth of a cent, what should the unit price, or what should the listing show as a unit price? So when you look at the answers, a unit price is always money per whatever you're dealing with. So here, they even take it down a step and they say cents per ounce, not even dollars per ounce. So for the unknown, they're saying to the nearest tenth of a cent, what should the listing show as a unit price? So the unknown, if you look at the answers, it's cents per ounce. Okay, now if we're trying to figure out, we should know one of these numbers. Okay, unit price means price per 1 unit, and this unit is ounces. So the number we know is the 1. The cents it costs per each is what we don't know. Okay, so now we look at the known pair and see if we have both of that. We have a 12-ounce can, so it's cost for 12 ounces, and we have $1.56. Now you have to be careful here. They want cents per ounce. Now you could put $1.56 here, but that would give you dollars per ounce, and then you'd have to convert it after. So what I'm going to do is convert it first. So I'm just going to know that $1.56 is the same as 156 cents. Okay, a cent is just a penny, and how many pennies are in $1.56? It's 156. Okay, so now once you've done that, now it's just cross multiply and divide. Shortcut in unit price, remember, is money divided by the amount that you get, but if you set up this proportion, that's what you're going to do, because we're going to have 156 times 1 all over 12. That gives you 156 divided by 12, which is 13 and this is in cents. So it's 13.0 cents. Okay. All right, we're getting closer. Right. Number 8 is a little bit of a tricky one, but still not too tough. It says volunteers for a political campaign gave out 13/28 of their flyers in one neighborhood. So that means 13 went to this one neighborhood. Out of 28 total. Okay, that's what, when you see a fraction, the bottom is a total. So it's 13 out of 13/28. I mean, 13 out of the 28 total went to the one neighborhood. It says they gave out the remaining 600 flyers in another neighborhood. So it might be a little confusing what they're talking about. One neighborhood could be St. Paul, another neighborhood could be Minneapolis. So they're two separate neighborhoods. It says, what is the total number of flyers given out? So in the unknown pair, they're saying when we have 600 flyers in another neighborhood, so another neighborhood, sorry if that spelling is very bad, sloppy with this pen, but another neighborhood, it says what is the total number of flyers given out? So this is what we want. So in the question, they want to know the total when 600 are given out in the other neighborhood. Okay, so let's see if that's what they give us. The fraction they gave us was 13/28 in one neighborhood, or the first neighborhood. So the 28 is the total, so that would go here. Okay, but okay, the 13 is for one neighborhood. We want to know another neighborhood. So if we take the total minus 1, that gives us how many are left for the other. So there's 28 total. We pass out 13 in one neighborhood. That leaves 15 for another neighborhood. Okay, so that means we gave 15 out in that second neighborhood. Again, that's the hardest part, setting it up. Once you get it set up, cross multiply and divide. So it's going to be a little bigger number here. 600 times 28 divided by the third number. Okay, so we get 16,800 divided by 15 gives you 1,120 given out in, or how many, that's how many were total. And again, it won't eliminate every problem, but if there are 600 given out in that other neighborhood, there has to be more than that given out total. So letter C should be out right away. Okay. All right, I think we got 3 left here. Number 9, Vito is downloading some files from the internet. Its connection speed is averaging 7.4 megabits per second. That means per 1 second. It takes 50 seconds to download the files. About how much data in megabits did he download? So the unknown, if we look at the question, so this would be the first thing you look at. It says 50 in the question. If it takes 50 seconds, how many megabits? So we're looking at seconds, and we're looking at megabits, and I'll use the MB for the abbreviation. Okay, so in that question, the one we know is it's 50 seconds, but we don't know how many megabits that is. Okay, so now we look at our known pair and see if these are the two things we have or if we need to figure it out. It says 7.4 megabits. No, that's the megabits that goes there per 1 second. And there we go. So it's set up. Okay, so again, cross multiply. So 50 times 7.4 divided by 1. So it is just that 50 times 7.4, which is 370. Now you really don't need to write this part, but divide by 1, still 370. Okay. All right, 2 to go. Number 10 says the ratio of dogs to people is 4 to 9. So dogs, let me write that, looks that looked too sloppy. So dogs to people is 4 to 9. The town has 7,002 people. How many dogs are in the town? So this is just a pretty straightforward one, but I'm doing it because we didn't really see one like this that is kind of this straightforward. So I just wanted to give you another example. And that's why, you know, when you got a test and the first question looks like, I don't know how to do this, keep going and you're going to get easier ones like this. Okay, so the unknown, it talks about if there's 7,002 people, how many dogs? Okay, so people is 7,002. We don't know the dogs. Okay, now just make sure you put these in the right spot. Okay, because in the question it went people and dogs. In the ratio given, it's talking about dogs to people. So people in the known pair is 9. And dogs in the known pair is 4. So they did give it to us just in a different order than the question is. So that all we have to do is make sure we put the numbers in the right spot. Again, cross multiply, take the diagonal with 2 numbers. Oops. Times 4, we're going to divide by 9. This is 28,000 and 28,008. Divide by 9. 3,112. And again, if you look at it, you know, 4 to 9 is just a little under half. 3,000 is just a little under half of 7,000. Okay. I'm going to leave number 11. Okay, so I think that's kind of like, it's almost like number 10 a little bit. But there's one more I wanted to go over. Make sure we look at it because it could be a little confusing. Number 14, this will be the last problem that we're going to do. So it says at a health club, the ratio of members who use personal trainers to those who do not is 8 to 29. So so 8 is how many use personal trainers. And I'm just, to make it quicker, I'm just going to put no use or don't use. Okay. Okay. So 8 use a personal trainer, 29 do not use a personal trainer. It says, how many members does a club have if 360 members use a personal trainer? So in the unknown, it says, how many members when you have 360 members who use a personal trainer. I'll just put PT there. So if you need more clarification, this top number, because it just says how many members, it doesn't say use or don't use. So this is actually a total. Okay, so for the question, that's what it's asking. It says how many members are there? We don't know that. If 360 use personal training. So now we got to look at our known pair. Now again, it might be tempting to write 8 over 29 or 29 over 8. But remember, This is use and don't use. So remember, we need members and use. So we do have the use number. The 8 will go down here because in our known pair, there's 8 that use personal training. But now total, well, if you just think about it, if you take the people that use PT and the ones that don't use, that'll give you your total. So in our known pair, we have 8 that use. We have 29 that do not. That adds up to 37 total. So that is the known pair part of the total number of people. Okay, now again, that's the hard part. Now cross multiply and divide. 360 times 37 divided by the other number. This gives us 13,320 divided by 8, which is 1,665. And that is letter D. So that is all we're going to do right now. What I'm going to do here quick is if we go to the key, the answer key, okay, I'm going to just kind of, again, go over. I did a separate video about this one time. But I went too far. But I want to show you how to use the key here. Why did it go so far back? All right, there we go. I just want to circle the ones that we did and then show you how to use this again. So we did numbers 2, we did 10, we did 4 and 8, we did 6 and 14, we did 1 and 7, and then we did 3 and 9. Whoa, sorry about that. So again, how to use this is if you're doing a problem and you can't figure it out, you can easily find one that we did. So like if you're doing number 25, that's part of objective 28. Well, so are 4 and 8. So if you're having problems with number 25, you might want to look at numbers 4 and 8 and see. Okay. So again, the key can be used a couple of ways. If you just try 25 and you get C, good. If you try 25 and you don't get C and you don't know why, look at 4 and 8 first. And then if you still don't get it, that's when you should be asking me a question. And then I can either go over it on a call with you, or I can make a separate video if other people are going to have the same question. So that is it for 27 through 31. Again, copy these notes down, send me a picture, and then it's up to you to decide when you are ready to take the test. Do some of these practice problems, make sure you're understanding. Ask me if you need help. Okay. All right. So that's it for this one. Let me know if you have questions.